So, is Dark Phoenix as bad as everybody says? Let's talk about it. Tonight on the show, we have Vic. Vic, how you doing, sir?
Fantastic.
Look at that, with all that booming energy. He has a planting show. Vic, would you like to promote that? I saw that on your page 2 days ago or so. What is it?
Yes, pretty soon. Because I mark out for all things. Therefore, whether it's mini belts, whether it's movies, or when it comes to plants, hashtag I am Groot. I will be reviewing house plants very, very soon here on Unpopular Reviews, and I've been inspired to do that because I currently teach indoor gardening to like seniors at senior centers and stuff. So pretty soon you will all be learning about a ton of plants. Thank you for that.
The man with the heart of gold with a dash of chloroform. What is it? Chloroform or chlorophyll? What is it?
Chlorophyll.
Chlorophyll. There you go. Chloroform will kill you, but the chlorophyll is the good one. That's what he is. And here we have the executive consultant. This is not Dr. Pamela Isley. He is Lex Luthor / the Kryptonian / some other evil machination, but he deems himself a hero. Chris Harris.
I like to think of myself as a hero. I like to think of myself a hero. One of y'all don't deserve, but I'm definitely a hero.
Oh, you look.
All right, so tonight we have Chrissy, by the way, is visiting the leftover Amazons on Paradise Island. As you know, she has a timeshare there, so she may or may not be able to join us tonight. But she's going to tell us how everybody's doing. But tonight, we three are going to be talking about her favorite movie as it happens. And it's ironic that she's not able to join us. It's X-Men Dark Phoenix. I know she's a big X-Men fan. I'm surprised she can't make it tonight. I'm going to get the synopsis, and then we could go into best of, worst of. And I'm very curious to see what people have to say, even those in the comments, because as you know, we do care about what our audience has to say. As I said, Christopher Harris jumping in there early with the hello to everybody. So here we are. When the world-famous X-Men are called upon to save a doomed spaceflight, the team manages to save the entire crew, but at the cost of one of their own. Bombarded by extraterrestrial radiation, Jean seemingly returns unscathed. However, in a short time, her family and the world itself learn all is not as it seems. That essentially is the basic concept and synopsis for X-Men Dark Phoenix. Who would like to go in first for the best of, worst of?
Okay, I'll go first. So, let's see. There was what I loved about this movie was the CGI. I loved every time I saw Magneto in a fight, all the metal flying around, all of that stuff. That was pretty cool. The CGI surrounding Jean Grey, I really liked. The story, not so much. I was very mad when they killed Mystique. But I was very happy with the way that Magneto was portrayed. Now, I also didn't like, I was very, very mad to see Charles, the way he was portrayed at the very, very end of the movie, because he just seemed broken.
Okay.
And, this movie to me is kind of like the end of an era, kind of like a closing out. You know what I mean? I feels like it's just filler to close the story and end it out. So I had mixed feelings about this movie. Also, I'm old enough to remember the Dark Phoenix saga of the cartoon. So when I first saw this movie and I saw that Sansa Stark was going to be Jean Grey, I was very excited. Because at the time, like, I was just excited with the fact that echoes. Okay, so when I saw Sansa Stark, I was very
Chrissy is pissed
to see her and to see her as Jean Grey and to see everything that she was gonna do. And then even in some of the parts of the movies, like when she was upset, it just brought me back to Sansa when she started becoming like a real badass. So like, it brought me back to that. So some of those parts, like I liked. But the things that I didn't like were mainly nitpicky because of what happened with the cartoon. Clearly the Dark Phoenix saga on Fox in the 90s was portrayed very, very well. A lot of people remember that very fond.
Are you talking about Princess Lilandra?
Yes, precisely.
The Shi'ar Empire.
Crystal.
Speaking of nitpicky, we have a new comment in there. Even Magneto's BDE couldn't save this movie. Now, see, I'm not sure what you see underscore. I'm not sure what BDE you're talking about. What is that exactly? Would you like to say in the comments for those who don't know what you're talking about? But Vic, I completely agree with you. That's where it wasn't in the comics. It was on the 90s Fox cartoon show for the Phoenix Saga.
Yes, and like the way that they portrayed that when this movie first, when I first heard about this movie, I was very excited because that is what clicked into my head. And I thought they were going to do something like that. But ultimately, what they ended up doing was just pretty much a continuation after Apocalypse, because I felt like they needed to. I don't think they necessarily had to go this direction, but they did, and it is what it is.
Really?
I think it's watchable.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But it's definitely not my fave. I'll say that much. And look, I'm done in 6 minutes. That's awesome. Okay. Because there's a lot.
I'm not laughing at you, Vic. I'm laughing at these comments coming in here, ladies and gentlemen.
Big eggplant energy. Yeah, that's what that means. Big eggplant energy, BDE.
Yes. As I said, she's on Paradise Island. She has a different name for it, but that's where she is, ladies and gentlemen, if you're wondering. Chris, did you want to go or you want me to go in here?
I'll go. I'll start with some worst scenes that I had in this movie, which, believe it or not, I didn't have that many worst scenes in this movie. I mean, I have to piggyback a little bit off of what Vic says. The problem is if you watch this movie, you really, as far as an adaptation, visual adaptation outside of comic books, you have to go by what you saw in the Fox version in the early 90s and possibly what you saw in Xmen 3. Now, granted, it wasn't anything like either one of the two, but of course you would want it to be more like the Fox 5 version of it. And I guess they, for whatever reason, they didn't feel like, or the director didn't feel like he could pull it off. From what I saw, yeah, you're absolutely right. Now, I'll talk more about this in other segments, but there was a lot of it. I'm like, wow, this, they start off in space, and I'm like, good, this is the proper way to do it.
Yeah.
And they did a whole little thing where she got absorbed with the energy and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, all right, maybe we're getting the right thing. And every time I thought they were about to hit it, so to speak, it didn't work out quite as well. Another problem I had
as far as the Phoenix Saga story, you mean?
Correct. It's like I felt like they were right there at the cusp to make it work, and then they killed it, and it always bothered me. So that's one problem I have with it. Another problem I will have with it is the fact that she's Dark Phoenix, and I felt like to really tell the story that she was supposed to be told, she had to kill somebody, right? And she was, once again, just like I said a couple minutes ago, she was always on the cusp, but she never did it. Now, granted, you could say, hey, she killed Mystique. Let's be real. That was an accident. She was trying to kill Mystique. She was trying to blow her away. And unfortunately, Mystique landed fine. Now, I don't reason I'm not including my worst scenes because that's actually one of my best scenes because I needed Mystique gone a long time ago. I don't want Mystique dead, but that actress has phoned in Mystique for 2 movies now. You could tell with this one, even though she was only contractually obligated to 3, you could tell she said, I will come back if you kill me. I mean, I don't have to know the backstory about that. I could look at the movie and tell she said, I will only come back if you kill me. And she phoned in the performance. It wasn't bad. You can tell why she's won an Academy Award. She's a good actress, but she phoned in the movie. So I had a problem with that. Exactly. She was overjoyed to be killed off. She said, just in case this movie does do well and y'all going to ask me to come back, I'm letting you know right now I'm not coming back because I'm getting killed off.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I don't necessarily think that she had to be killed off. I mean, she's Mystique. She's a shapeshifter. You can easily put another actress in her spot. So I don't understand that.
It's not like Mystique wasn't stabbed in the first X-Men movie and survived.
Exactly. So I mean, we already know the Mystique is older than what she appears to be. But whatever. What I did, my favorite scenes in this movie was I did like the space scene. I thought that was actually very well done. And I also liked pretty much the whole final act of the movie when they land in New York and they're trying to get Phoenix, even though she did not kill anybody. The action sequences of that movie, I mean, that scene, I thought was very, very well done. From the being in the streets, Magneto once again showing his BDE, as somebody put in the thing, lifted up subways now because hey, every movie he has to do an incredible feat. Them getting on the train and them being put in the collars, and then the aliens come, and then X-Men get released. And let me tell you something: the reason why this movie was called, it wasn't really called X-Men Dark Phoenix. It was called Dark Phoenix. There's a reason it was called Dark Phoenix, and it wasn't because of the character of Dark Phoenix. So this was a dark movie. Mm-hmm. Let's just be real. They changed the music up. I know it was a new director. They changed the music up in this movie. They barely cracked any jokes in this movie, which is something I like and I don't like. They barely cracked any jokes in this movie. It was a dark movie. Look no further than the train sequence when the aliens were coming, and there was just murder all over the place. They said we may not be rated R, we may not be Logan, but we're going to kill some people in this one. And it was not accidental, these deaths. Much like if you saw Justice League and Wonder Woman killed that man with that hat, and all he had left was that hat. There was no denying when Nightcrawler grabs a person and then zaps himself out to the train, looks at him, smiles, and then heads back onto the train. They were plus it was just brutal. And then of course the final part where Jean is just evaporating, eviscerating every single person out there trying to attack anything. Visually, I thought it was very good. I thought it was very well done. So those are my favorite scenes. Charmaine, what's going on? James, on you.
No, listen, as Chris says, this movie is not called X-Men Dark Phoenix, it's Dark Phoenix. I'd like to put it's called Magneto Dark Phoenix because clearly he's the star of this movie. Move over James McAvoy, as he's been in the past two movies, okay? Arguably. I also did like that fight in Central Park. I thought that was great. I'm not going to call it BDE energy as C does, right? But he always has an intensity. Like if he says, hey, I'm going to kill Magneto. If he says, I'm going to kill this person, you believe that there's a history. Like when he cries at hearing that it was Raven who died, you believe that they had all these different adventures, you know what I mean? That she was part of the Brotherhood and everything like that. So I really did appreciate the level of acting. That's not to say anything against James McAvoy, right? But I'm just saying, for a person he's in the chair, right? So you can't really do the same things, right? So obviously it's limited to the script. Magneto gets to be, again, that James Bond character. So it's much more cinematic in the telling.
I agree. Can you answer this question real quick?
Oh, I'm sorry. Why didn't Charles
freeze all the mutants that were trying to kill Jean? And quite, when you watch the movie, you'll actually see there was another mutant there who had psychic abilities. When he was trying to do it, she says, "Hey, you're not the only one that can control minds." It was because she was stopping him from doing it. So as much as he was trying, he was unable to do it. But that's what.
But you see him the whole time.
He was trying as Nightcrawler was going in and out.
Charmaine, that's okay. Chrissy didn't see it either. So I like the scene when they're in the mansion, and this leads into a question I have about this, right? That when Phoenix makes Charles get up and walk like a marionette, symbolizing almost how she feels that she's been manipulated by him over the years. That's a great scene, and it's really well done by James McAvoy. I like the fact that his character realized immediately that Smith, who is the female alien, the main female alien that we see in the movie, that she's not who she seems to be. Now, again, as I said, it leads into questions. Smith says to Jean that this Phoenix Force, let's just call it, even though it's not that in the movie, is neither good or bad. It's just power, right? And you can do with power as you will. If you choose to destroy a whole world, you can do that, and then you can recreate Eden if you wanted to on the same devastated planet, right? So it's not a morality thing. Yet in this movie, time and again, we see Jean has a streak of maliciousness in her. I really wish that was explored, because that is not explained. Whereas in the comics, and even in the 90s cartoon, because there are two different sagas. There's the Phoenix saga, and then there's the Dark Phoenix saga, and I believe that's when they're on the moon or something like that, and Principal Laundra comes back,
that's
right?
Dark Phoenix, yes.
Yeah, and there's a the Phoenix Force has taken over her and is manipulating and corrupting her, so to speak, and making her malicious, right? And she's fighting that. But in this movie, you don't have that. And in fact, the dialogue actually counteracts that notion because it explicitly says that it doesn't. So then my question is Jean just inherently evil? Because where did that come from, right? So I would have really liked talking about things that to be done better. I would have liked a line of dialogue to explain that because you have two contradictory things, and this entire movie, she's malicious, right? Whether she means to kill people or not, she is malicious. That said, it was a great scene, and I like that back and forth between her and Charles. I like the chess scene at the end of the movie that Vic talked about. It was final, but I like that in this one, as Eric says, you found me, right, and you gave me a home when I was broken. I'm here to do the same thing for you. That is what a friend does, right? And they still have their opposing philosophies, as far as we know, right? But friends are there. You disagree, we soldier on together, as the Greeks would say, we fight thigh by thigh. And I really did appreciate that adherence to the mythology that's been set up that in throughout these films that you see that they're friends. And I'll get more into that into one of my quotes that I hope is not taken, but it's a great quote, so it probably will be taken. But I'll still read it because I wrote it down. Another thing that I like, that opening, right? The cold open with Jean killing her mother, which again shows her more as malicious because she didn't get her way. But she's a child. You could argue that she didn't really mean to go that far, but and knock out her mother. But you know what I mean, right? And then after, when we get the call from the president, I like also that it furthers the mythology that they set up with X-Men First Class. That now the mutants are known. Well, the mutants weren't known by everybody, but to a certain degree by the government, right? Then you have in Days of Future Past where the world knows that mutants exist, right? And they have these abilities, and in fact that they save the president, right? Then we see the normalization, so called, right, in the 80s, in Apocalypse, and the fact that the X Men, everybody knows that the X Men saved the world from Apocalypse, was destroying it, right? So that the president would have the X phone, so to speak, much like the Bat phone or whatever like that, or the Red phone, that makes sense to me, right? The fact that Charles is going to his head, no pun intended. In the comics, Charles is a very arrogant character, and oftentimes he does manipulate people. If you know the comics, you know what I'm talking about, right? So the fact that Mystique, his sister, would call him on that, I like that fact. But also that they're called upon because hey, we can use these people. Um, they go into space. That's a whole great sequence. The fact that she absorbs the energy and everything like that, all of that was done beautifully. My problem with that, again, it seems nitpicky, but I'm just gonna say this just because you know I like realism. So Quicksilver, he tapes up Nightcrawler's head in the helmet so that he can breathe, I guess, you know, for the little bit of air that's in there. His hands are exposed, his tail's exposed. He's still gonna die being in space like that and without an atmosphere. But okay, whatever. That's just a nitpicky thing that I noticed that was a little weird to me because they did all of the wrap up thing and everything like that, right? What I liked about the scene when they came back, that again, Mystique didn't like the fact that Charles pushed Jean to do that, even though they didn't know that she wasn't hurt or changed. He put them in unnecessary harm for his ego's sake, and she saw it and she called him on it. I like that. That's something that a friend does as well, right? So this movie had a lot of great beats that I really, really did enjoy. I mentioned Magneto crying on what I'll call Genosha, even though it's not called Genosha in the movie. It's a comic reference. But I like the fact that, again, Magneto has found peace and his conversation with Jean Grey, specifically when he's talking to her, right? And he comes out there like a boss using the magnetic field to fly out there, right? And he says to her without missing a beat, whose blood is that? She starts talking about something else. He helps her with a problem and he goes right back to it. Whose blood is that? Because he knows that he's responsible for those mutants there. And even though he's given up violence, so to speak, right? There's a tentative peace. And the same thing that Mystique said. So when we dress up in these goofy costumes and we take pictures, you know, we smile in pictures. And Charles says, yes, it's better than that. It's better that than being killed. And true to their word, as soon as there was one incident, you know, even though they've been saving these people left and right, we assume for years now, right? They saved the world. The president says, I'm done with you. I'm removing the phone. So again, speaking of the X-Men origins and what they're based off, I really did like that, and I really did like the conversational pieces. If you read between the lines, as I did, and how I translated that to be, it really did speak to me, and it was an homage to the origins of it. That there's a tentative peace. Everything seems like it's okay, and they had a similar line of dialogue even in X-Men Apocalypse that I really did appreciate. That yeah, it seems like that, but they don't really love us. They don't really like us. They just tolerate us. And I think Mystique said that one and that one as well. So it's just really, really great. And that's my best of and my questions as far as worst of where we're going.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Unpopular Review. That was just the best stuff, worst stuff. When we come back from this 20-second commercial, we're going to be talking about some quotables as well as recasts. And stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Unpopular Review.
I'm directing my first feature film. Care for a little shriek preview? For my big screen premiere, I wanted lots of suspense. Special effects. Sex, violence, frights, camera, action.
All right, and we're back, ladies and gentlemen. This coming Thursday at 9:15, 9:30 p.m., we are going to be reviewing Tales from the Crypt. Demon Knight is James's pick this Thursday in the closing out of this month. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about X-Men Dark Phoenix tonight. Then we're going to go into our next segment. It is called Quotables. Does anybody want to volunteer to go first?
I got one, so I'll go.
Okay.
I will go. Because I thought I'd keep it short and sweet tonight. But there was a lot of quotes in this movie. And, when Charles and Eric are involved, I like to leave it to you two to come with the majority of the quotes, as I see you already have. But I really like this one. And he said to... this is what Magneto said to Jean Grey when she went to quote unquote Genosha to go visit him. And he said to her, "You didn't come here looking for answers. You came here looking for permission." And that was very, very telling because it was very true. She was pretty much looking for permission to go into the dark side, apparently. But yeah, I really like that because it kind of set the tone for where Phoenix was heading towards next. And and that's that on far.
I'm glad you said that quote. I actually almost put that quote up there because I do like that quote because there are a lot of people. Once again, I normally pick quotes due to most of the time due to what I would say in real life or what I feel in real life, and that is something that a lot of people will do. They'll do something wrong and then they'll come to you for advice, but really they're not looking for advice. They're looking for permission that was okay. They're looking for they're looking for that redemption that what they did was okay. Oh, I accidentally told this person something that I shouldn't have, but you have to understand circumstances. No, I that's not the case. You're coming to me hoping that I'm going to justify what you did. I'm not going to do that. James mentioned earlier, that's not a friend. So that's a great line. I'm glad you put that out there. I'm going to try to be quick with mine. I have 3. This was actually in the trailer. Sometimes you want to believe that people are something that they are not. By the time you realize who they are, it is too late. Mm-hmm. Nothing speaks more on that than if you ever, and I'm not saying this personally, I'm saying most humans have experienced this. Have you ever been in love with the wrong person, right? And you may not see it completely because you're in love with that person, but other people see it. But because you are trying to believe that they are something they're not, you don't. And unfortunately, by the time you do realize, it could be possibly too late. So that was very impactful line by Storm. The one line she had that was impactful. Magneto had a lot of good lines in this one. I'll say this one: save the old friend crap, Charles, and stay out of my way. I did not expect him to say that, but this shows you how much emotionally tied he was into the mission that he was trying to do. And that is kill Jean Grey for what he did to Raven. So when Charles came and he did his normal stuff, what's up, old friend? I don't have time to deal with that right now. I'm not dealing with that right now. Here, I know why you're here. You know why I'm here. Stay the hell out of my way or it's going to be a problem. So I appreciate that line. I thought it was very impactful. It was good. Another one from Magneto, my last one. You're always sorry, Charles, and there's always a speech. But nobody cares anymore. Mm-hmm. Once again, I'm dealing with that now. Somebody does you wrong. And you know what? Some people are more forgiving than others, right? I'm a very forgiving person at times. Vic can be forgiving at times. But at the end of the day, if you
I can be
somebody
forgiven.
right, if somebody keeps cutting you off, and you're always forgiving them because they come and apologize. Like, look, apologies aren't helping your case anymore because those are just words. Words are cheap. I need to see actions. You apologize to me 3 times. I'm sick of hearing sorry.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's what happens. A little bit of inside news. That's what happens. I'm asking for a 3-minute rant segment. You're not giving me the 3-minute rant segment that I wanted to see. You keep apologizing to me. I don't have time for that. Bye-bye. Those are my quotes. On you, Professor.
As I thought Chris did use some of these. As Vic said, he wanted to use some of them too, but he left them for us. They're just great quotes. Magneto had a lot. Absolutely correct. Let me give that one that I said that Mystique did when she's talking to Charles at the beginning of the movie. This is Charles and Charles to begin. We're only ever one bad we're only ever one bad away from them seeing us as the enemy again. So what? We wear matching costumes, smiling pictures to make everyone feel safe, right? I just love that back and forth that they have because it's two people who know each other, two opposing philosophies, but they are debating it. You know what I mean? And I really, really I enjoy that in real life. When sometimes you have to question. You might still believe something, but you have to question. I might throw something off of Chris and say, Chris, what do you think about this? This is what happened. This is what I believe. Am I right or wrong? Right now, obviously, I come to Chris because I know him. I respect him. I think that he thinks logically. He's reasoned, right? As he says, but he'll be impartial when he's given the advice. If I didn't have that confidence in him, I wouldn't come to him. So even though those two characters have those two different opposing philosophies, those two different points of view, they can still come down and talk to one another. What's going on, Andrew? So I really did like that. This again is another conversation. As I pick these quotes, I really like conversation. This is Jean Grey and Magneto, and Magneto is answering Jean. She says, "How did you stop killing people?" Right? He says, "So I hurt people. Yes, kill people. Kill whatever I thought would make the pain go away. It didn't. No matter how many souls I sent under. So I stopped." A little bit later, he goes, "Whose blood is that?" Loved it. It's just a great character beat. You know what I mean? And it shows his fighting skill and just his growth as a character, the way they developed his character. I really, really did like it. And I think they did that much more than we get to see growth in Charles because we actually see it, whereas it jumps from movie to movie with Charles, right? But with Michael Fassbender's character, the way it's written, we actually get to see the progression like a slope, right? And I really do appreciate that just as a film goer. This is Magneto talking, the soldier talking to Magneto on Genosha. He goes, "Look, I know who you are. I don't want to fight you." And Magneto goes, "No, you don't." I just love that because he's like, because I will kill you if I have to. You know what I mean? It's just a great beat. By the way, that's another favorite scene. When you see him trying to stop Jean from ripping that helicopter apart, and he's trying to say that, he's like, "I can't hold it back. Get in that helicopter and go." And when he flings them back, they go flying over the top of the trees, and they haul tail. Just a great shot. Very cinematic. I really, really did like that. I'm going to do what I said I was going to do earlier and reread the quotes that I knew were going to be read already. Here we go. "Save the old friendship, Charles, and stay out of my way. I'm sorry for what she did, but I can't let you go in there. You're always sorry, Charles, and there's always a speech, but nobody cares anymore." I had to read that again because I loved it. Yes, I scrubbed back and I watched it again and again and again because it's a great back and forth between two people. And Magneto is, as New Yorkers say, dead ass serious when he said it. Like, you're always sorry. Every single movie I'm hearing Charles say, "I'm sorry. I know your pain." Nothing changes.
Nice.
Magneto's absolutely right. Christy. All right. So Magneto's absolutely correct. And he's like, "Listen, we're still friends. I'm on a mission. Let's not ruin the friendship by you getting involved." All right. You know what she did. Let's not act stupid. Okay. But it's just a great back and forth. And I really did enjoy it. That's my quote.
All right, we're going to go straight into our recasted segment. This recasted segment, we take anything in this movie or prevalent in this movie, and we recast it with something we think is going to be just as good, if not better. Does anybody want to start off? I think Vic said you did not have any recasted. Is that
Actually, I do now.
All right, go ahead.
I do now. So I want to recast this entire story for this one. Because truth be told, like since they were culminating this and ending this and all of that, I really feel like they probably could have done an actual Dark Phoenix saga.
Okay.
Dark Phoenix saga was literally 5 episodes, and they definitely could have done this within 2 movies. I think it would have. I think it would have been much better if they would have done this. I think that this situation, above all else, was phoned in because of all of the circumstances.
Okay.
And you know, I like I alluded to before, I was excited about seeing Sons of Stark.
I'm
I don't
sorry. I'm having a hard time hearing you. I don't know if it's just me.
Yeah, I don't know where that noise is coming from. I was like, we're outside.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, like I was very excited to see Sons of Stark
Okay.
play this role. And I think that she did it okay. I just don't like. I personally don't like the delivery of the movie itself. Because it was basically phoned in. You know, I'll continue this in my final thought, but that's pretty much it. Because like I walked into this movie with this mindset, like yeah, and then I walked out of this movie like, you know what I mean? So,
I wish I had that in when we did Tactical Force. I wish we had that. Andrew, in my opinion, Andrew says, does the character of Magneto come off more as a villain or as a dramatic and misunderstood
dramatic
person?
misunderstood.
I would say so. I would agree with Vic. I think he
Definitely
comes
not as
off
a villain, not in this movie.
Yeah, I think every good villain. No, I know that's oxymoronic, but every good villain has to have a true motivation that could be understood by the audience in order for him to be effective. If
Well,
he's just a mustache twirler, then we can't relate to them. You know what I mean? And they're a one-off. But if they have a realistic motivation, I think people can understand even if they disagree with it.
You know what though? But I don't think that Magneto. I don't see Magneto as a villain since X-Men 3.
Which X-Men 3 you talking about in the original
where he got hit with the needles, where Beast hit him with the needles, where Kelsey Grant, where they were all old. Okay. Where it was like the 2000s, where he was moving the Golden Gate Bridge. Mm-hmm. That's the last time I see Magneto as
an outright villain.
Yeah, an outright villain. Because like in all the other movies, it's just he has villain moments. You know what I mean? But I don't see him as the main antagonist in the movies at all, in any of them. As far as I mean talking from X-Men First Class to this movie. You know what I mean? Even in Days of Future Past, he's not a villain anymore. He's not a bad guy anymore. When he's old Magneto or young Magneto, you know what I'm saying? Because in that movie, he's just pissed. He's not. I don't see him as a villain. I just see him being upset.
In Days of Future Past,
honestly, like if they would have actually showed him killing Kennedy instead of like them putting it on him and he actually killed Kennedy and they made that a thing, then
well, he didn't kill him per se. He was trying to save him.
Yeah, exactly, because he said he was one of us, which would have been awesome. You know what I mean? But like, if they would have twisted that around and tried to made him like the actual killer of Kennedy, so you know, so he would actually have to go out in hiding for actually doing that. And you know, still, but then at the same time, like that's a very gray area to go because John F. Kennedy is one of the most beloved presidents of all time. You know, so kind of if putting him in a negative light probably wouldn't have been that good. Like if they would have done that with Ronald Reagan, even though like to some people Ronald Reagan is like the greatest guy ever, but still like, you know, or if they would have done that with like George Bush, you know, it probably would have gone over a little bit better. But John F. Kennedy, they had to. But at the same time, it is the 60s, so that makes sense. You know what I mean? But still, like, I'm just, you know, just to get off the tirade before I make this even more long-winded, I just feel that Magneto, for the most part, was still one of them, for lack of a better phrase, instead of actually being the bad guy in any of these movies.
I would say, sorry, I just read a comment. I would say that in very much so in the Bryan Singer sphere of the original trilogy, You know what I'm saying, right? That he's very much the antagonist and also the villain, mustache twirling villain, right? Um, to a more or less extent, right? He's an antagonist in the second one to a small extent, but really he's trying to do it for everybody's benefit. In the third one, in the Brett Ratner, he's the outright antagonist, right? More than the Dark Phoenixes. And the first one is arguably the same thing slightly, right? It's muddied a little bit, right? Whereas in the when they're starting out with First Class and going forward, he's an antagonist at times, but he's really not necessarily against them. They just have different ways of going about the same goals, right? Which is mutant liberation and equality. Whereas one doesn't believe that
I
they will
mean,
ever be considered
you know
equal
what though?
by the.
I
I'm
agree
sorry,
with
but
you.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Whereas some may not, one may not necessarily believe that they'll ever be considered equal. The other one has the hopes that they possibly can by good work, so to speak. The other one doesn't think that's a realistic thing, and that he thinks that by any means necessary, as their characters are based off of the philosophies of Dr. King and Malcolm X. So.
See, and that's just it. Like, that's why it pissed me off at the end of the movie, seeing Charles so broken. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Because it's basically just seeing like Martin Luther King if like the "I Have a Dream" speech had failed or something like that. That's what it made me feel like. You know what I mean? Like,
But do
and
you not believe that it's
I'm
realistic that King at times he felt, am I going about this the right way? King himself said, "I brought my people into a burning house."
yeah, I see that. I see you on that. That is true. But still, like, I mean, I just never seen. I don't know, man. It just looked like the end of the movie where Charles was broken, and that kind of like messed me up because this is basically MLK and Malcolm X.
Hmm.
You know what I mean, I like that they were friendly, but I just what I mean. It was just it was such a difference from. It really felt like the first movie, like when Charles was trying to get. I mean, clearly I understand what they were doing as far as the opposite goes, but I was just very upset that they closing out this saga, this movie, this series of movies with Charles looking like that, like a failure. And then the other thing, they changed the name of the school to Jean Grey School. So what does that mean? That Charles has given up? So that's another one that like pissed me off. I mean, they don't even know if Jean Grey is actually dead. So like, anyway.
Okay. Chris, did you want to do your recast, or you want me to go in here?
You go ahead because I see you're prepared.
I was hoping that he wouldn't see that because he knew it was coming. I'm waiting. I'm looking forward to Chris's recast, and I think you should tune in Thursday because it will be hilarity. Now, listen, I have a couple of recasts for this movie. It's not saying that I don't like it, but again, I recast this movie based on what they remind me of. When I see a character, I say, "Oh, they look like this person," or "Oh, they remind me of this," and so that's how I did it. So this movie, obviously, let's start with the title character, the Dark Phoenix, Jean Grey herself. Well, I'm watching this movie and I'm looking at this, and I said, "Oh, I've seen this lately. What is it? It's it's Wanda Maximoff. That's exactly who it is." They both do those hand things, especially at the end of the movie of Dark Phoenix. You know what I mean? And when she's giving you the evil eye, you know you're about to get toasted. And so that's why I would cast Dark Phoenix, Jean Grey, as Wanda Maximoff. And now they're all part of one big happy family. We'll see how that turns out. Now, the next one coming up, I had to look up her name because I can't remember them saying it in the movie. But apparently her name is Smith. This is the alien form, and her alien name is Vok. Okay. Now, by the way, my one of my negatives of this movie is who are these dehydrated aliens and why are they why are they there? Somebody get them a glass of water. They look terrible. But anyway, Vok, aka Smith. Here, there she is. Now, I tried to get a full picture, so you could really see what I'm talking about. But I'm going to put up a picture, and for those who are cinemaphiles, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Let me show you who I recast her as. Now, this is Deering from Jurassic World. I'm recasting her not as Chris Pratt's character, but as the female character right there. And look at her. Look at how she's dressed, right? You see anything? Do you notice anything similar if you've seen Dark Phoenix? Charmaine, I know you haven't seen this movie along with Chrissy, but she's wearing high heels. And if you've seen Jurassic World, you know that she's running around being chased by dinosaurs. She's running in the mud. She jumps in the water. She's running over puddles, and she's doing them in high heels. And I watched this movie, and Vok, the dehydrated alien, is doing the same thing. She's walking over bullet casings. She's walking in the mud. She's flying up in the sky. She's landing on beasts in the train, a moving train, and all in high heels. And never once does the heel break off. That is called movie magic. The same as I called this character, Deering's character, when she's running from the T-Rex at the end of Jurassic World in high heels, doesn't break an ankle at all. And she insisted that her character do it because that's who her character is. And apparently that's who this dehydrated alien's character is as well. There you go. So that's my recast. But last but not least, because I know you wanted in 3, and this is the third one for us, I have this person. Now, you know, I have nothing against Scott Summers. I liked him in the cartoon. Well, that's a lie. But anyway, I have nothing against him. It's just against how he's portrayed. There I go in the background. You can't see the melanin, but I assure you it's there. But in the foreground, there's Scott Summers. And as he is, even in the original Bryan Singer movies, he's also in this movie, just a little bit less so. And so I said, I can't make a grown man cry, so I'll just make it this little baby. There you go. Chris is ready with the tomfoolery. But that's why I recast him as a baby crying, because he's so young in this one. Now, if he was an older man crying, I would cast him as a grown man crying. But in this one, he's just this. And that's my recaster for this movie.
The tomfoolery you're recasting is amazing.
I'm just going by what I see.
It's amazing. You've been disrespecting Cyclops throughout the entire franchise that we have done.
So I'm not the script. I can't be explained for that.
All right. I don't even know why I'm about to upload this picture, but I do want to recast somebody as well. Ironically, it's the same picture, but I wanted to recast Vok, I think is what her name was pronounced, but whatever. And I actually didn't mind the character. It's just that one thing I would have preferred her change, and that is she looked like this, and her name was Lalandra.
Thank you.
Even if they wanted to stick with the same storyline, she should have looked like this, and her name would have been Lalandra, and I would have been more accepting of what they were doing. They don't have to make a full force Phoenix saga. I would prefer it, of course. So we all would have. Mm-hmm. But what is so wrong with saying, "Hey, this is Lalandra and this is the Shi'ar"? They would have got bodied, yes. But what was so wrong if they just said that? It would have been a nicer tease.
Thank you.
And it would have worked fine. They could have still had the same thing. Our planet was destroyed. We're trying to get this energy so we can come back, make her a full-fledged villain, even though she never was a full-fledged villain in the comics, but still would have been fine. Don't understand it. And you know what? I think this person, I'm not even going to recast the actress because I think she could have pulled it off. Yeah. She looks like a Lalandra that needs something over her head. So I give you all the credit in the world for that. I was a little confused by that, but that's one recasted I definitely would have put up there. I only have one more recasted that I'm uploading now, ladies and gentlemen, and that is this right here. Xmen Dark Phoenix. I would have recasted this movie. And you're probably asking me like, well, man, you must have not liked the movie. What would you recast it at? I said, in honor of this past weekend, I would have asked for a Bryan Singer cut. That's what I would have done if I could do it. Because if Bryan Singer would have done it, maybe it would have been a little bit more to how it should have been done.
Or this movie needs like a 4-hour redone thing.
Let's not go overboard with 4 hours. I don't want that to become a common thing. But
that shit was popping.
No, it was popping because you were in the comfort of your own home. Now in the theater, I don't know if I could have taken that. But I would have released a Bryan Singer cut.
Hey, Chris, quick question. Can you put that last picture back up there on the screen for me, please? Where's Mystique?
She said that she couldn't make it.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean? She's killed off.
Why didn't they put her cardboard picture that you caught?
They could have drew her, and it would have made more sense than to have this. I'm like to know who else I like to know.
No, she's actually right there, just not in costume. I didn't even notice that.
I have no idea why Quicksilver's in this picture. He wasn't in the movie. All right, so let's go ahead and take a final commercial. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about our final
Yeah,
thoughts.
Quicksilver was so busted up from that first fight that I didn't even realize he wasn't even on the train. What happened to the
You
train?
can tell he doesn't have flash healing powers.
Wow.
He was not recovered. He didn't recover for the entire rest of the franchise. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back after this brief 20-second commercial. Find out what we're going to be reviewing next Tuesday in our final franchise episode. We'll be right back.
I don't think we're here to get better. This place takes your greatest fear and makes you live through it until it kills you. Who's there?
No, I'm sorry. No. Arya Stark ruining another. No.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with Unpopular Reviews. The next Tuesday, we're closing out our X-Men somewhat franchise with the final installment of that franchise. It's called The New Mutants. Tonight, we're reviewing the final one of this cast, which is X-Men Dark Phoenix. And Vic, you already do not look happy. What's wrong?
No, man. Look, Sansa Stark fucks up this movie, and then Arya Stark messes up the next. No, I'm sorry.
I don't know these Starks you're mentioning.
He's talking about Game of Thrones and The Long Night.
Yeah, I'm never going to respect that.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, all they had to do was bring the Snow Demon to ruin it even more. Like, seriously. Like, this
is not a Snow Demon. It's a White Walker. Anyway, this is our final segment.
Y'all can have a separate episode about Game of Thrones all y'all want. I have no intention of being a part of that, nor do I want to talk about it. You are right, though, James. We're going into our final segment. It is called Final Thoughts. This quick condensed version where we discuss what we are going to be our final thoughts of the movie. So, Vic, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Well, okay. So, like I alluded to before, and like most of us were.
You're a dope for me.
Huh?
Nah, it's Caden. That's so Caden, who did the Caden cut of Justice League earlier, says Bryan Singer is a note from him. I'm letting him know he's a note from me. Anyway, Brad Pitt is Scott Summers. Are you kidding me, Andrew? Anyway, go ahead. Take it away, Vic. My apologies.
Yeah, no. See, the main problem with this movie is that, like, I went into it excited, and I was looking for this, and I was hoping to see Sansa Stark be like this, like, you know, badass chick. I like the way that they started the movie with little baby Jean Grey flipping over a car and protecting herself while she's flipping over a car and not realizing that she's flipping over a car. So, like, you know, all of that I liked. You know, the way I hated how they killed Mystique, even though clearly she phoned it in the last two movies. And at the end of the day, like, this movie was filler. It was filler to kind of close out this saga, this set of movies. And unfortunately, you know, they tried to do something, but I don't think they necessarily executed it very well. I think that they had the opportunity to do something way, way better. But I don't know what they were thinking at this point. I think they just wanted to end it. I don't know if they were thinking about revamping this whole thing. I'm still waiting to see what the hell the MCU is going to do with the X-Men now. And I'm very curious to see what happens. I mean, some people want it to be comic book accurate. Some people want it to be cartoon accurate. You know, I wanted it to be cartoon accurate because I just remember the Dark Phoenix saga. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I walked out of there when I saw it in the movie theaters like this. So, standalone, definitely a thumbs down, because it's just disappointing. And now I would only give it a thumbs up if you were like connecting it all to the other movies and making it one movie. That's the only way. But other than that, okay.
All right, that's a rare thumbs down for Mr. Vic over here, who I believe gave Tactical Force a thumbs up. Professor, we are on you.
All right. I watched a little bit of the Caden cut, and I have my thoughts and opinions, but more on that later when I comment on there. Please check them out, give them some likes, subscribe to us, though, because we know what we're talking about. Anyway, for this movie, which I like to call Karen Dark Phoenix at certain times, I have different thoughts. One, give the aliens a glass of water. Give those dehydrated aliens a glass of water. You could have solved everything. They would have left Gene alone. 2, give Michael Fassbender an Oscar. He's killing this role. He's doing great. 3, I haven't seen New Mutants. I'm looking forward to it. What I'm not looking forward to is watching the new Star Wars prequel movies or sequel movies or whatever, because those are trash. But anyway, I give this movie a thumbs up.
All right, so thumbs up. Now, thumbs up from James, thumbs down from Vic. Completely bizarre world we're in right now. But what is the exact consultant going to give it? First, let's talk about IMDb.com. Gave it a 5.7 out of 10. 5.7 out of 10. It cost $200 million to make. It made $252 million worldwide, $65 million in the United States. This was the lowest grossing X-Men movie of all time, especially in the United States. Now,
waste the money.
How did I feel about this movie? Here's a surprise. I liked it better than X-Men Apocalypse.
Agreed.
I think it got a bad rap. Really think it did. I understand why people have some issues with the movies. I'm not saying it was perfect. It was definitely not perfect. It wasn't Days of Future Past. It was X-Men Unite. It wasn't First Class. But it had a lot of good points in it and a lot of good storytelling to be told. It just failed. And I think it was done a little bit of disinjustice by the fact that while they were in the middle of making it, the X-Men franchise was sold to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Mm-hmm. And when that happened, I kind of think everything just fell to crap and nobody cared about it as much anymore because they knew it was definitely, no matter what happens, was going to be the last one of this installment. They were already planning for it to be, for the most part, but it was like definitely the final nail in the coffin. So nobody cared as much anymore. And I think that scene between Professor Xavier and Magneto, and I'll try to be a little quicker, was added at the last minute as a kind of like, this is it. Mm-hmm. Because if you didn't see that, you wouldn't have felt like this was it. You would have felt like the next one was going to be in 2001.
Yep.
Right after 9/11. But that showed you the finality of it. And even though I don't think it was a good last movie for it, I will always respect the X-Men franchise because you can say stuff about Blade, Batman, Superman, even Spider-Man, or the first Iron Man. X-Men franchise took the cinematic universe of superheroes to a new level where they felt more comfortable going outside of Batman. Mm-hmm. Because Batman used to rule superhero movies in the movies theater. You know, Blade came out and they added a new element, but Batman still ran the box office. X-Men started doing other things and opening eyes. And I will always respect this franchise. So I'll take an extra 30 seconds to let you know. From X-Men in 2000 to X-Men Dark Phoenix, have they all been perfect? No movie has. Look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe, look at DC Extended Universe. No franchise has been completely perfect. But X-Men franchise has done some of the best casting of any superhero movies. They hit Professor Xavier twice. They hit Magneto twice. They hit Wolverine that people still talk about to this day. They had some of the greatest movies. X-Men 2 United was great. X-Men Days of Future Past was great. X-Men Apocalypse could have been better. X-Men First Class was great. Dark Phoenix took a chance to do something. Mm-hmm. And did it do a good job? No, it could have did better, but they still did the best of what they had. And I really feel like if it wasn't for the fact that people were just tired of the franchise at this point and they just wanted it to go to Marvel Cinematic Universe because they do such a bang-up job as Spider-Man, that more people would appreciate this movie. The fact this movie got a 5.7 and gets beat up is really an atrocity. Does not deserve it at all. Doesn't deserve it. I enjoyed this movie. The first time I watched it, the second time I watched it, this time I watched it. I give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, I agree. I think the problem that people have, and they may align more with Vic, is because when you say Dark Phoenix or Phoenix or whatever like that, we all have that image of of a saga.
Right.
And the fact that this was going to be the last one, they let Simon Kinberg, who had been the screenwriter, I think, before him, on a few of the other ones.
He was.
Directed that people were let down, that this is not the saga that I came into thinking. And arguably the same case can be made for people who even to this day have something against Henry Cavill, that this is not Christopher Reeves. They said the same thing. This is to Brandon Routh, even though Brandon Routh, I thought, did a fantastic job channeling Christopher Reeve's performance.
Christopher Reeve.
You see what I'm saying? He wasn't given his own Superman role. He was told to channel that. this is not Christopher, but he did such a great job of channeling it. But when Henry Cavill was complete opposite of Christopher Reeve, this is not the Superman that I know. You see what I'm saying? But to Chris's point, X-Men, and Andrew says Blade was much cooler than Batman. That's because Batman doesn't kill. But X-Men is very much comic booky. Whereas you could make a real world Batman, you could make a real world Blade, but X-Men, they have so many different, and not to say that the other ones don't have sagas, but they're so colorful, they're so comic booky. The power, it's like Fantastic Four. You can't make that a real world thing. It would be very, very different because it's so the adventures that they go on are out of this world. We don't live in that world. Right? That's not a thing. So the same thing for X-Men. We don't live in that super fantastic world. So this is pre-Avengers. This is the setup for the Avengers, which arguably you can even go Iron Man. But Iron Man is more real world than when we're getting to Thor and these, because we don't know that exists. That's a what if reality, Thor and everything like that. So that they were able to make these characters who are very much comic booky, right? That people knew, and to create their own universe. Because this is before, again, as Chris says, Marvel bought the X-Men back, right? That's saying something. And not every movie in a series of movies is going to be hit out the park. Some are going to be grounders, right? So credit has to be given. Credit is due. The same way we do for Blade for kicking off the modern iteration of the superhero movie. Because again, as I said, Batman and Superman, they're in a league of their own, right? Not to use movie pun, titles, but they're in a league of their own. These are iconic characters, right? But for Blade to kick it off, credit has to be given to Blade. For X-Men to kick off that, hey, we can go super fantastic, that has to be given credit. The fact that Marvel was able to start with Iron Man, which was not considered to be one of their top that was Spider-Man. That's why they sold all those characters. The characters in the MCU that started off the MCU were the characters that nobody wanted to buy. The studios didn't want to buy them, either because the technology to do those character movies justice wasn't there, or the popularity, what have you. But that's why Spider-Man and Fantastic Four were sold off. Right? Those were the properties that people wanted. And the fact that Marvel was able to do the MCU, right, with Kevin Feige, were able to, with these B-list characters and popularity, it's nothing against them if you love them, whatever. I don't get paid either way. All right. That they were able to create a universe, a billions of dollar franchise off of these characters. Credit has to be given. Credit is due. So that's my point on this. And I think that's the point that Chris is making. And we'll see how I don't even know if New Mutants is considered in the same universe, because
it's the same universe. That's the only reason I'm reviewing it. If it wasn't for that fact, I would have just said, scrap it. But unfortunately, it's in the same universe, so I'm going to do it.
Well, then I'll say we'll see how this universe closes it out, because I don't know what to expect from that. It seems like, based on the trailer that we just showed, an insular movie. I might like that. I don't know.
It's a horror movie, but I mean, we'll see how it is. I'm giving out hope. I didn't hear any good reviews on it, but we will see. Vic, you picked Tactical Force. So like,
first of all, hey, listen.
Here we go.
Yeah. I had reason to pick Tactical Force. Okay, I had a very, very good reason to pick Tactical Force. It was the one Stone Cold movie that I didn't see. Okay, and we were celebrating 25 years. Okay, 25 years. We were celebrating. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. This will be in the Mini Belts reviews. But we were celebrating 25 years. Okay, so I had a very, and the mark means very valid reason for doing that. Isn't that pretty?
Gotcha. It's so pretty. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching X-Men Dark Phoenix movie review.
Tune in Thursday.
For her professor, for Vic, I'm the Zach Consultant. Make sure you like, love, and share this, as well as subscribe to us on YouTube. Watch a lot of our old content, a lot of our old movies. We did one earlier today. We did one yesterday. And make sure you tune in Thursday as we review none other than Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. And then, of course, next Tuesday, the New Mutants. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching us. And you all have a wonderful night.